Check, 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 check. How we doing, eh? How we doing? Turns out I'm not as good at clicking as I thought I was. A lot. Just trying to make sure that the autofocus is alright on me. If I'm honest, I changed the tripod slightly that I put the camera on, and I struggled to get it back in the position that it was earlier. So, as in like the last time I did one of these. So, that just is what it is, I guess. But yeah, I was literally, just as I was powering up this old machine, I was just thinking about what to do about that white wall there, you know. At the moment, I've tried to make it a little bit less boring for use by having a candle, so it's kind of a little bit more dynamic, and there's depth and shadows and movement. But at the end of the day, like, you know, I'm a student filmmaker, and I don't like white walls because you gotta be different in some way or another. I'm just wondering whether there's enough light on me so that the autofocus doesn't keep shifting. Alright, hi, welcome to, Season 3, Episode 4 of the Decompression Chamber. I'm your host, Mario, so it's good to have you. And our opening quote is going to be from the writer Albert Camus, who I believe was French, but I'm just pronouncing it like that because I believe that's how it's pronounced. Anyway, the quote goes, "Nobody realizes that some people expend tremendous energy merely to be normal." Roll the intro. Sorry, sometimes I get nervous that the audio recorder isn't recording, even though I specifically bought a better audio recorder to not worry about. So, what does that say about me? Yeah, I guess sometimes I worry about shit that I don't need to worry about. I mean, that's the state of my fucking life. I'm literally worrying about where I put my glass of water, despite the fact that it's stored kind of weirdly on my desk. Anyway, let's get on with the show. You know, not that it's a show like showbiz kind of wildness, but you know, I made this platform for a reason, and that's to talk about how I've been doing. And yeah, I guess I can reflect back on like the first week back at uni. Start was really strong, you know. I have been enjoying, like, I might have mentioned it in the last episode, I can't remember, but the culture at my uni seems to be changing such that like people interact more between the years. And I guess my uni experience, the uni experience when you go to Wiltshire College and University Centre is very different because for the majority of people, you know, if you're on the film course, you're working on projects together, you're going to lectures and workshops together, you live in the same like area, like normally you start off in halls together, and you're friends and you hang out. So like when I started at uni, it was very insular, you know. People in first year only spoke with other people in first year, and the same for the years above. And that's why I wanted to make sure as a third year, when we're at the top of the food chain, as it is, maybe that's not the best way to describe it, but you know, we're the oldest ones. So the way I saw it was kind of like our responsibility to kind of bring out an olive branch and make the younger years feel kind of at ease. Yeah, you know, feel like we're people that they can approach and seek help to. Grammatically, I don't know how to finish that, but yeah, in any sense, I've been trying to make sure that they feel like they can communicate with us, or at least me. You know, I'm not going to speak for the rest of my cohort, but yeah, for example, there's a couple of lads that I go to the gym with, and that's fun. And just in general, like being able to kind of mix more means that there's more collaboration, you know, just a more kind of lively environment, you know? So that's fun. What I did notice, though, is that going from, like, being in the house, like, just me and the gang, you know, waking up whenever you choose and kind of making the day what it is, the sudden change from that after a long summer holiday to, you know, waking up regularly early, not early, but, like, in the morning, rather than just, like, lazing around till 11, it definitely took a toll, you know. And the reality is, it's like most years, like the first 2 years, the start is a little bit slow, and you kind of like get moving a little bit. Whereas third year, it's like you're already in the middle of it almost, you know. There's always shit to be doing, and like in first year, if there was a day where I didn't have anything to do, I'd just be like, cool, I'm just gonna chill out and do what I want. Which a lot of the time is like lying down and watching stuff. But But now it's like, even for example today, I was conscious that even if it's a day that I'm recovering from being hungover, I've still got to get something done. I've still got to be moving in some way, and I guess to a certain extent, that's why I'm here. um, so yeah, there was a party yesterday, and I enjoyed it well enough. But you wake up hungover, spend most of the day lazing around trying to recover. But I had an absolutely solid fucking gym sesh this evening, and recently, I think that's one of the things I've been doing best. And wow, surprise, surprise, it's because I'm working hard and consistently at it. Is the gym, I've got a good routine now going, and because I'd been going for a couple of weeks before uni started, I'm way in the swing of things. And recently, every time I step foot in the gym, it just feels like I'm just making, like, striking gold, or whatever the expression is for when things are going real well. So that's fun. And that's why I kind of, part of the good vibes that I got from that is why I decided to hop on and make this video. But what I was gonna talk about was the fact that I noticed that regular early mornings, and I wasn't disciplined about going, to sleep at the right time, it just led to me getting tired. And when you got a lot of stuff to deal with and you're tired, and I can be anxious at times, it meant that stuff kind of piled up on me. And I remember one time recently I was on holiday with my immediate family, and maybe I was just tired and cranky, or just a little bit anxious about coming back to England and stuff. But my brother just says something like, "Oh, well, it was good to spend time with Grumpy Maz today," and at the time I just kind of shrugged it off, because naturally, like, siblings, you're kind of like poking and prodding at each other. And then I think this week I kind of took notice of the fact that how I do get grumpy. And I think what it is for me is that I get so in my own head about my own problems and what I'm thinking about, that sometimes I neglect the amount of time thinking about other people's problems, and how I might be, playing into those, or maybe how I'm not doing enough of a job as maybe a friend or a collaborator to offload those problems, And I guess this is true for most people, but you never kind of do harm wanting to. Yeah, it just happens incidentally. And I think in those, like, when you realize times where you've taken a misstep, you gotta kind of look at yourself and be like, well, what's causing this? What's the root issue? I think for me, it was just not getting enough sleep, and not kind of being in a regular enough solid ass routine. So that's what I'm trying to instill this week. Not a day wasted, and not a day taken for granted, because at the end of the day, like, sometimes if I'm so, like, focused in on, like, the things that I need to be doing, I kind of don't take enough notice that, like, every day is a gift, and I'm lucky enough to just be walking around with a sound enough mind and body to just, like, be living and loving life. So yeah, never take it for granted. Always grateful. Like, I remember when I named this channel More or Less Grateful, naturally, the thing is, it took me so long, because I wanted to have a name that incorporated my initials, because I don't know why, it just charmed me. But I'm always more or less grateful. It's never none. But sometimes, for me, I guess what it's like is trying to come up with an analogy here. Give me a sec. I'll cook one up. Alright, it's not exactly the most refined one, but the way I see it is, like, gratitude is like the ocean. Like, you may not always directly see it, but it's always there, and I'm stretching it here, but, like, it's always good to be noticing it and appreciating it. maybe nature or something, if you got a better analogy for that kind of feeling, put it in the comments. But yeah, no, I've been trying to stay grateful, and the thing is that I think oftentimes stuff's complicated, and if you ask someone how their day's been once, you may not get the full picture. If you ask yourself how's the day been, you might not get the full picture. Like, oftentimes I can have, like, a really good start to the day, and then the whole evening I'm feeling shit, or vice versa. And in those kind of days, I've got to ask myself, what are the turning points? What are the things that put me from, like, having a 4 out of 10 day to having a 7 out of 10 day, or, like, what are the things that put me from having a 9 out of 10 day to a 2 out of 10 day? And that's not an easy fix. That's not a simple A to B formula. But if you at least spend some time thinking about it, you might get somewhere closer to an answer. But yeah, so that's what I've been thinking about. That's how I've been doing. I want to film a comedy sketch this upcoming week, and I'm hoping it can kind of be up on this channel. Gonna gather the troops and get something done, because it'll be fun to just get our hands on the kit and get moving. What else? Yeah, as I said, it's going to be a continuation of the grind. Because at the end of the day, I was saying this to Sam on the way. Sam's my housemate and close friend. I was saying to Sam on the way back from the gym that at the end of the day, it's not that I never work hard, because when I'm in the right place and I kind of facilitate the environment and the decisions, I can work hard. But oftentimes I don't make the decisions that put me in the position to work hard or put me in the environment, or it's like, again, I'm going back to analogies. It's just, I love analogies so much. I'll get to that in a second. But the analogy I'd use is say working hard is a car. Once I'm in the car, I can drive very well. But the problem is I don't always get in the car. Sometimes I just go for a walk elsewhere and I'm in the middle of nowhere, here's the thing. I think at the end of the day, I like being understood. I like people knowing what's going on in here. That's why I do this thing, and that's why I really like analogies. It helps me illustrate a lot of points that I like to make. And one day I hope somebody can come up with an analogy for analogies, because it's just cool. It's just cool to me. I think it's such a cool linguistic device, and I think in general being descriptive is fun, and trying to use different situations and make links like that. I think it's somehow related to creativity. Oftentimes you hear that creativity is about making links and kind of, I guess in one way or another, for me it's about communication, innit? Oftentimes my dad will say, "You're one of life's communicators, Mario." I think for a long time I didn't really understand it. For a long time it was hard for me to comprehend. I didn't know whether it was a good thing or a bad thing. And, in general, I'm not very good at taking compliments, I'll tell you that much. But, that's the thing, is at the end of the day, the whole thing of being a filmmaker, having a podcast like this, the person that I am in general, I think communication is high up there. So for example, a lot of situations, I would say that going on a walk with a friend and talking with them is very relaxing and fun, and or I don't know, just literally just chilling out and speaking to people it's one of life's greatest pleasures. And I think that's something I noticed this summer as well, is that and it's been true for a couple of summers, but oftentimes when I was a kid or an adolescent, my family was so good at facilitating us doing fun activities, going swimming a certain place, or going kayaking, or maybe climbing or something, stuff that's engaging and fun. And when I got a bit older, I realized that all I really like doing is just chilling out with the people I care about and just yakking it up, having a nice combo, and maybe include a beverage depending on the situation. It could be a coffee. I love a bit of that, or bit of the old booze. But I know that's not exactly going to be a long-term thing. Well, who knows? But yeah, it's just conversations, isn't it? When I was at a party yesterday, the music's on, blah blah blah. The lights were terrible in the house. It was maybe I have to illustrate this point. Imagine just having a party in this kind of conditions, this lighting. I'm not sure it's exactly conducive to those kind of vibes, but at the end of the day, when you're not the host, you just kind of have to roll with what's going on. But what I just liked about it mostly is just having lots of different people to interact with and talk to. And that's the thing as well, is I was watching the Spain game. I'm not even going to harp too much on that because it was despicable. Actually, I might harp back on it, but because I showed up a bit later than most people, it kind of I was like greeted like a mayoral candidate, because because the sample size of people isn't that big. If somebody's not there, like I guess it's noticed more. But yeah, let me harp back on the Spanish thing, because the Spain national team, the talent is all there. We've got all the players. We've got everything necessary. Like, the only thing that we're missing is just like some defensive solidness. Because we got all the good defenders, they just don't work as a unit, and we just lack a number 9. We lack a kind of solid out and out striker, because Morata ain't doing the job. He's stepped up to the plate and swung and missed many times. And Ferran Torres, I don't really think that he can carry us to a World Cup victory. And we're far from the version of Spain that won the Euros in 2012 with no out and out striker. We played Cesc Fabregas in the final up front in a false 9 position against Italy and slapped them 4-1. Mollywopped them, I would go as far as to say. And yeah, just it's painful to watch the current Spain team. Like, I peaked too early in terms of my enjoyment of international football, because that period between 2008 and 2010, I'm hoping right now I'm editing like an overlay of like the lineup and the highlights and stuff, because honestly, it's beyond words. It's beyond words. It was a period of joy and delight watching Spanish football, and every single player was like world class. And you had players who were like bitter rivals, like players who were playing for Real Madrid and Barca, like on the same pitch, fighting for the same goal, and it was amazing. It was beautiful. Like, all of those. I remember being a kid watching Spain play, and it was like I was confident that we would win. And nowadays I don't get anything near that. Like, I see us pass the ball and hold it a lot, and I'm just like, yeah, great. And like on the English front, like particularly in the last Euros, we were way more like kind of competitive, but at the end of the day, like Gareth Southgate's version of football is essentially quite dry and quite boring. It's unseasoned is the way I'd describe it, just in the sense that it lacks a lot of flair. It doesn't flow very much. It's just kind of like, I honestly don't know what the game plan is, what the style is. It's just try not to concede and try and score, like in the most simple terms. I don't know. Because at least with Spain, despite them being losing calamitously to Switzerland, at least when I watch them play, there does seem some sort of unity. They're trying the pressing thing. It's not altogether going well. But they like possession football and fast moves and stuff like that. What they do lack is getting in behind the defenders. What they do is they always just encroach up on the other team's defense. The team sets deep. They try and like intricately pass their way through, and if you don't like, I'm not slandering the current players, because the likes of Gavi and Pedri, like top tier players. But when you compare them to the likes of Xavi and Iniesta, like there's just nothing to be said. Like, of course, this era has been dominated in terms of the talk by Messi and Ronaldo. But I genuinely think, for anybody's money, out of all of football history, the midfield of Busquets, Xavi and Iniesta, it's unbeatable. Like, that exact core, they just copied and pasted it from the Barca team, or vice versa, and they were part of one of the most dominant clubs in world like history as well. So it's just like, yeah, it's a fall from grace. So fingers crossed, one of the two teams that I support, one of my two nations, carry us forward for the World Cup. But I'm not feeling too optimistic after this weekend. It's been a little bit rough. But at the end of the day, I just want us to make it out of the group stages, because the 2014 World Cup, when we didn't make it, when neither team did, it was brutal. I remember I turned 13 on Friday the 13th. My birthday is the 13th of June. And this would have been the first game that England played against Netherlands competitively since the World Cup final. And Netherlands slapped us. They slapped us in the cheeks, man. Like, they won 5-1, and Robin van Persie had that famous flying header. And I remember I cried myself to sleep that night. I was sobbing. And like, maybe it's a bit of an issue of mine. I'm not much of a crier these days. But I remember that time, that one opened me up. And the next day I broke my arm. So safe to say, in my like sheltered, privileged life, that was not exactly the best weekend. But, we got to hope for better things moving forward. I'm not, thing is, obviously the whole thing about it being hosted in Qatar is disgusting, and lots of human rights abuses, and people are going to get put in prison just for having like pride flags and stuff, and but I don't feel like I've spent enough time studying geopolitics or matters such as these to know really what the answer is, other than not this. But FIFA is like apparently recognized as like one of the most corrupt organizations in the world, which, given that they host finals in like Azerbaijan and places like that, where it's just like, this is just like a country that's got a lot of money. Like, this isn't to do with the culture of football, and I'm not saying this in the sense that like it shouldn't be played worldwide, but just you can see very transparently that the motivation for where things are being hosted is, how much the pockets are being greased. The wheels of capitalism keep crushing some people or others. Like thousands and thousands of people died in slave labor building the stadiums that the Qatar World Cup is going to be hosted in. So, that's got to be present in our minds at some point when we're watching the World Cup. It's not like it happened with no suffering. I was going to continue with more stuff, but kind of just got somber thinking about that. So maybe we should just end it there. Yeah. I hope you've enjoyed this. I feel like this has gone alright. It's been a bit all over the place, but I kind of like it when I switch it up on the topic. So here's the test for me, is that if I like listen to it back when I'm editing it and I'm not entertained, then I'm like, can't put this out to the people, So this has only got to meet my standards. I don't really care if it meets yours. But yeah, anyway, hope you have a good whatever, and have a great week, because Lord knows I will. You made it.
For the oblique turn peak of the soul. Please never know what's about to recover. My zen getting rolled in the words. Which is in my head, wishing that with a white sweat was never sing rings, promises and when in which ones for the second of the 10 toes toned down.